Welcome to Psychic Evolution with evidential psychic medium Jamie Clark and spiritual coach and healer Maggie Clark.
And welcome back to another episode of Psychic Evolution. I'm Jamie Clark.
And I'm Maggie Clark, and this is the podcast where you discover the psychic potential within to empower yourself and manifest your psychic and mediumship gifts.
And these abilities are so natural. They're supernatural. We want to talk about the connection and to numbers. And the statement by Nikola Tesla, if you only knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, then you would have the key to the universe. Devon, if we can get right into it, because I'm just fascinated with your connections.
Let me introduce him first.
I
Please.
just want to go.
Give the guy a break.
Okay, I thought we were going to edit that into before. Okay, perfect.
And today we have an awesome guest. His name is Devon Kramer, and he's the owner and the founder of 9 Vibes Universal. He has an awesome website. He's on YouTube and also has a Facebook group, which I encourage all of our listeners to go check this out, because the information that Devon is putting out into the world right now is got me geeking out on numbers again, because I absolutely love numbers. But this is what we've been hungry for. Tesla's quote about 3, 6, and 9. Why are those numbers so important? Devon Kramer is taking the time to educate us, to teach us, and to find all these relationships in so many different places, not only through math, which is a whole subject in and of itself, but biblical references to the chakra system, to healing energy. And he's doing all this work and giving it to us. And it's amazing. So Devon, we want to welcome you and thank you for creating 9 Vibes Universal.
Thank you, Devon, for taking the time to be here with us. I appreciate that. And this is just the beginning for you.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me. I'm honored to be here. I'm just so excited to be able to share this.
Well, and you're so down to earth and real. And that information, a lot of what you share, I'm like, duh, I have no clue. And I do this all the time. So it's a beautiful blending. And I believe that you talk about that as well, about it's no longer the separation of spirituality and quantum physics. It's now spiritual physics, unification, not separation. And with the numbers, with those dynamics of information, you were activated at a younger age. Was that after your NDE? And can you share what happened for your NDE?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are 3 stages that I actually went through for my spiritual awakening, or at least any type of awakening. The first one was the Mandela Effect, and that one just kind of cracked my reality. I'm a logo design artist, and so when I started noticing logos were changing, information were changing, movies were changing, it really started to make me think that maybe our world wasn't what I thought that it was. And after that experience, I then had an NDE, a near-death experience, where I had purchased some CBD and I had an adverse reaction to it. It basically hit my body like poison. I picked up the phone in enough time to call 911, let them know that I needed someone to come right away before I hit the ground. And then I got up. And when I got up in that state, time did not exist. I had even looked at the TV and it was not moving. Colors were brighter. They were almost as if the colors that we see now are 1995 colors. It was almost like walking in another world. And the most amazing thing to me about this experience wasn't what comes next or anything along those lines. It was that in that moment, I was okay. I was more than okay. I felt more safe and more secure in that moment than I did ever walking and living. And that was probably the biggest wake up to no longer being interested in the 9 to 5 and the getting into the system. I wanted to break out of it.
How powerful was that to realize you don't have to be anything different?
Yes.
Perfectly, just the way you are. And in a universe, as you now know, right, firsthand experience, now it's real. Going, holy cow, and just to my awareness, whenever I merge with the universe and I don't have to graduate to do it, it's like the best mood that you've ever been in, the best meal that you have ever had. Every time I connect, my soul is full. No judgment ever on the universe's part. And the words that come to me each and every time, who are you now? That eternal being, like, man. And once you had that connection, do you think that might have possibly opened you up even more to the 369, to your own psychic abilities?
Absolutely. I believe that fear is the biggest block of connection just in general. And that experience removed all fear. The majority of people I talk to are afraid of death. And I understand that, but I no longer am. And I believe that is what just opened the doors at that point. Once you get rid of the fear of death, once you get rid of believing that what comes next could possibly be this dark, terrifying experience, the sky's the limit. And I think that's what ended up happening.
And look at how you unify your soul and the empowerment that you experienced to go, oh, it's already here. I just now realized that.
How did you wake up to numbers? Because honestly, when I woke up to numbers, my mind was like, wow, like, oh my goodness, where has this been my whole life? They've been with me my whole life, but I just finally understanding relationships. How did you wake up to numbers, and specifically, why 3, 6, and 9?
That's actually a very funny story because I had no interest in numbers. I remember numerous times talking to spirit during meditation and being like, why numbers? I didn't understand numbers. I didn't understand math until what ended up happening was I got into meditation and I would write out my meditations, and they were usually very powerful messages. And so I started sharing them. And then one day I looked in my notebook when I had woken up the next morning, and there were 3 specific numbers: 3, 6, and 9, 1, 3, 7, 6, 4, 9, and 8, 6, 2, 3, 5, 0. And at this point, I knew nothing. I had to search, I had to research, I had to Google. I looked everywhere and anywhere I could, under every rock that I possibly could. And when I started to, just like you, when I started to see the connections, that's when I was like, wow, where has this been all my life? Why did they not teach me this in school? I would have excelled. And so when I started to see the connections, I realized they're everywhere. They're not just in math. They're not just in quantum physics. They're in the Bible. They're in the Quran. They're in Shakespeare's, writings. They're everywhere. And that's the reason that I actually started 9 Vibes. It was a movement to get people to use 9 as a guide in all areas of life to reveal truth.
How does that work?
So the way that it works is everything has a digital root. There are 9 singular digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you can reduce any number. You can reduce a date. You can reduce a word. You can reduce anything into one of those singular digits. And so as I learned about that, I noticed that there are specific numbers that do not fit with 3, 6, and 9. And those are 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. And so I noticed that the ones that had 3, 6, and 9 were leading towards love. They were revealing truth that is so profound that when I share messages, it's not biased. I'm not interested in telling you what to do or having you go a certain way. It just radiates. And so when I found that, I just started almost sifting through everything in life. I watch horror movies because I'm not interested in being scared. I'm interested in finding the truth because it's everywhere. And so I use it almost as like a sifter to find anything that is related to 3, 6, and 9. I believe that what Tesla was trying to tell you when he's talking about 3, 6, and 9 is that the 3, 6, and 9 are energy. It's a specific type of energy. People talk about him being OCD. I do not believe that. I believe he did things in repetitive actions because he understood mathematics and he understood that energy. If you take anything in your life and you do it 9 times, no matter what it happens to be, it will always revert back to itself, the digital root of 9.
This is awesome. I study number relationships in the tarot, and the 3, 6, and 9 in the tarot in the major arcana is the Empress, the Lovers, and the Hermit. Now, the Empress is the creative matrix, the creative fabric of the universe. And it's how we co-create realities. It's how we tap into our life force energy and our creative energy. And the Lovers at the 6 is about unifying the self and initiating yourself into a place of wholeness, like removing polarity, dichotomy within and coming back into a place of unification and wholeness within. And it initiates things into a place of wholeness. And then the number 9 is the Hermit, which signifies endings and completions, where you come home to yourself, where you find that you never had to look outside of yourself. All the answers were within. So this 369, I've always processed through my understanding of the Tarot and through the creative matrix. And also the 3, 6, and 9 represents the Mother, the Maiden, and the Crone, which is the Holy Trinity. And Christianity turned that into the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost as they took over the current basic religions and understandings at the time and made them their own. They said, oh, look, they've got the Mother, Maiden, and the Crone. We'll just switch that to the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, and then everyone will follow Christianity. And it worked.
They call that the Super Mario effect. Turning
Right.
all male.
Absolutely. And so the 369, from my understanding, I understand why Tesla loved those specific numbers. But it's interesting, you said if you do something 9 times, it returns to itself, because everything does reduce. And then 9 is like the number that always, you can cancel that out of anything and it doesn't change any number. What other types of 9 vibe frequencies do you work with?
So an example of that would be like meditation. People ask me all the time, what is the perfect way to meditate? How do I meditate? And I tell people that it doesn't matter how you meditate as long as you're aware of what you're doing. So if you want to breathe in for 3 seconds and then 4 seconds and then 3 seconds, as long as you do it 9 times, you're bringing it back within itself. So in all things, like I am a professional dog trainer and I use it quite often with my pet parents. I let them know that training is about your bond with your dog. And one of the areas that I like to have them bond is that area of energy. I believe that animals are already there. I think it's us that are not there. And so by repeating things like, for instance, the training exercises 3 times, 6 times, 9 times, you're not dealing with arbitrary results. You're aware of the results that you're looking for.
So there's a conscious focus, a conscious intention of doing something a certain amount of times to work with the natural law of the universe, which is numbers.
Yes.
Awesome. Now, when you do meditation, do you like go in saying, okay, I'm going to say this mantra 9 times, or I'll breathe this way 9 times? Is that something that you create for yourself before you go into meditation?
I used to, yes. I used to be highly anxious. I actually had severe social anxiety. And so I focused on a very old meditation that they actually use even for Navy SEALs, which is to breathe in 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds, breathe out 4 seconds, and hold 4 seconds. And I noticed that the numbers weren't adding up and it was bothering me. So I kept adjusting them and switching them around until I realized in another meditation, it doesn't matter. It's about getting into the energy. And so I just repeated it 9 times, realizing that brought me right back to where I wanted to be. And so now I don't. I believe that I'm meditating almost 24/7. So everything I do, I just try to repeat 9 times. If I'm doing the dishes, I don't like to stop on certain numbers. When I'm turning the volume on my TV, even my girlfriend will joke if I accidentally stop on, 40, 44, she'll turn it to 45. So it's about just staying in what I believe is the energy that is around us.
And by living by the 9s, pardon my ignorance, but what exactly does that entail? With dates, months, years?
So this is what I call the 9 vibe calendar. And the purpose of it, when I first started, I was actually attending a very open church. It wasn't about the Bible. It was supposed to be about the universe and unity. And that's why I ended up going. And so what I noticed is 9s really stood out to me out of everything, because 3 + 6 is still 9. So every 9 day, I would call it 9 vibe day, and I would tell everybody, I'd be like, raise your vibration, love someone a little bit more. Today's a 9 vibe day, because I had this understanding that if enough people did it, we could raise consciousness without changing anyone's path, without telling you have to believe in this God or walk this path or do anything. All you had to do is be aware of what day it was. And so by adding the month, the day, and the year, you'll end up with a singular digit. And so if it landed on a 9, that was the day that was a 9-5. And now it's 3, 6, and 9, because obviously it's better to stay aware and to build up to that. But that's what the 9 vibe calendar started as. It was about focusing on the 9 days. You would just add the numbers up. And if it fell on a 9, everyone else did as well.
So we're recording this on September 22nd, 2021. And when we add these numbers, this is awesome, right? We get 9 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 1. And that equals, I got to add this, hold on, 11, 13, 15, 17, 18, right? And 1 plus 8 equals 9. So we picked an amazing day, because this is a 9 vibe day on a universal calendar year, just to record the podcast. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
And look at and it lined up effortlessly. We weren't even aware of that. Now it's like, oh, do we see how subtle these numbers speak to us daily, moment to moment?
Yes.
Do you also use this for your personal numbers? Because I know, like, if you have a life path number, you can find your personal year, you can find a personal day. I work with my personal numbers all the time. Do you do that as well, or do you teach that?
I looked into that a while ago. I looked into the life path numbers, and I created a system I haven't shared yet, but I created a system where if you rank yourself, anybody who knows the aurora borealis, it is the snake that is eating its tail. If you take numbers, or 3 numbers, and you label them A plus B, B plus C, and C plus A, and you do the math on that, you'll end up adding them across, and you'll have vortex math, which is 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1, or you'll have 3, 6, and 9. But the most amazing thing is, if you consider them past, present, and future numbers, and you rank yourself as to where you used to be, where you think that you are, and where you hope to be, you'll reveal your own path. And I've done it a few times with a couple of people, and they have been blown away, but then 9 vibes takes me everywhere. And so I haven't actually had a chance to share that yet with people yet. But
fantastic. Nice work.
It works really awesome to become aware of where you're at.
And if our listeners want to learn about those personal numbers, we do have an episode in season 3 on numerology with a guest, Barbara Wheeling. She's a numerologist, and she talks you through how to calculate those for yourself. But now we're just talking universal numbers, and you're creating a whole new system of understanding numbers and helping people divine basically their past, their present, their future, and where are they vibrating at.
Yes.
And the connection and communication of the past, present, and future are all happening now. I always kind of use it as an example. When I'm on the internet web and I'm on a Zoom call, if I have someone who's connecting in from Hawaii, which is usually seen as a couple of hours in the past or behind me, or if somebody's calling in from Australia, which is about 17 hours in the future or ahead of me as we perceive it. Yet, when we're talking through the web, the past, present, and future are happening now. The future can learn from the past can learn from the future, integrating it into the moment of the eternal now. Has there been any other kind of random thoughts like that might drop through your mind, through your soul?
I was going to say, what's actually so interesting about that is that only works with the speed of the internet, the ultraviolet 5G and 4G speeds we have, because technically if we had done that in 1996, it takes a while for you to connect with somebody who is in another country. So it's very interesting how our consciousness, our understanding is also aligning with our technology and our speed. That is really
Things
cool.
are speeding up. Yeah, exactly. Instantaneous. Communications, dimensions, frequencies, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
With that, I'm a psychic medium. Everyone's a psychic medium. But I've also done a lot of scientific studies, the University of Arizona and a variety of other places. But we have now scientifically validated that consciousness exists beyond bodily death. Now, with that, are you open to make a stronger connection with Nikola?
I am actually. When I first started, the first connection I believe that I had was actually whether or not he existed or didn't, I'm not really sure, but was with Jesus. I consciously asked to be connected to the spirit of who I believe Jesus was. And through that, I've actually had people who've come to me and said, "Are you sure you're not connecting to Tesla?" Because of the way that things ended up going. But I am very open to those type of things. I believe it was Tesla who said that your brain is just a receiver, that there is a source out there that you connect to. And so obviously with him not being here, that's where I think his information is at.
Cool as he is right here, right now. I'll just share with you that, and you're saying you're open. So be open because he will work with you and you will channel a lot of this information. Your eyes aren't going to roll back in your head. It'll just flow through you. It's just a neural soul way. You connect stronger. The more you do it, the better you get, kind of thing. But you're already in tune and you're ready for the next level of integration of this information. You know, I always say you could know all you want, but if nobody knows it, whatever. So it's that kind of perpetuated pattern that you're starting to step out. You're outside your comfort zone to go, I used to be freaking freaked out of society. Now I'm kind of trying to help myself and others. And so now it becomes less of a fear and more of an empowerment. The very person that might have seen it one way is now seeing it a whole different way through a lot more love and empowerment. Has that helped shift your perspective on life with the numbers, with finding out the solid validation to go, okay, so there are apparently many realities that are existing now, as many worlds as there are perceivers, kind of thing. But also when you can bring things by the numbers and it's very matter of fact, you know, that's why I always playfully say, you know, do you ever question why these scientists to make these major discoveries do it in numbers and letters? Because it's information. So it's those kinds of dynamics that when they can put those numbers together, give you solid information, and then the outcome is very powerful. Literally, it'll start to add up 1 + 1 = 2, or 1 + 1 + 1. You'll get literally each number, each stand along the way. Do you take any psychic questions into your meditations and maybe read it by the numbers?
I don't take psychic questions into my meditation. I like to actually leave that open to just receiving. There are a few times that I have kind of ran to meditation, as I would call, with specific questions, but I do receive it in numbers. I believe there was a movie called Contact that was about them contacting another life in aliens, and it was specifically through prime numbers. And so I have also researched prime numbers and found the exact same connections, the exact same 369, even more so to align them with the Pyramid of Giza and your 7 chakras. And so I feel like the reason that numbers are the answer is because they're unbiased. Numbers don't care what you believe. And so I think that when you are communicating with anything past a biased mind, you're dealing in numbers, not words.
I love that because when I teach tarot, I say just learn your numbers and your elements and you know the whole deck.
Yes.
You know it all. You don't need anything else. It's interpretive after that and it's intuitive after that, absolutely. But the numbers do not lie. It's like your body. Your body never lies. The body will be an absolute perfect expression of the energy happening in your reality and running through you. Same thing with numbers. They absolutely never lie. Do you also receive information in your dream state? Do you dream of numbers? Because there are times that, oh my gosh, like the numbers and the sacred geometry that goes through, there's so many downloads I can receive in my dreams. Do you also get certain experiences like that?
I do. I do dream in numbers. I also see sacred geometry quite often. When everything started with 2020, I actually saw the shape of a virus, and I did not know this, but it is the shape of a icosahedron. A virus is actually the shape of an icosahedron, and I saw that in a dream before I ever learned it. And so that was fascinating to me.
Wow.
And isn't it interesting, by the numbers that gave you that kind of specific information? That's pretty specific.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and at the time you probably didn't know exactly what it was connected to, did you? Or did you have to like research it after the the virus kind of exposed itself.
Yeah, I did not know what it was connected to. I had just really dove into the 5 platonic solids, and I was learning about the degrees and how they lined up and how every single one of them perfectly aligned with 9. And so when I saw that, I saw it in multiple areas throughout the dream. There were almost like 6 different slides. And so I had to draw it, I had to research it. And when I found that information, I was blown away.
Wow, that's intense.
Yeah.
That's super intense because, so many people listen to this podcast because they want to learn how to develop their psychic evolution. And so much is wanting psychic information, like who's going to do this or what's going to come for me and things like that. But I find the beauty in the energy, the raw energy. And I think that's what numbers are. They're raw energy, but they're creating the fabric of the universe.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a lot of information out there when you look at 3, 6, and 9, and there are a lot of people who have played with it. And I came across a website, I can't actually remember it, but they took the 248751 and they split it up into 258 and 174 and 369, and the 369 created actual fabric diagrams. It was amazing. It was interlocked with everything, whereas the other 2 were on the left and one was on the right. So I believe that 3, 6, and 9, if there was ever a fingerprint or a signature from whatever created everything, it was done with 3, 6, and 9.
Now, you mentioned the chakra system. How do numbers work within the chakra system?
I love the chakra system. When I started 9 Vibes, I actually didn't know much about the chakras. I had to spend quite a bit of time learning about them. And when I realized that the chakras are not a physical something that you're looking for, they are a metaphysical representation of your endocrine system. And each chakra is directly connected to an organ. And when you understand that, you understand when they're blocked, why you have a stomach ache, why you have a headache, why these things are happening to your body. And it makes you realize that whatever did create everything truly cares about you. The system is flawless and it works when you actually are aware of it. And so I spent a lot of time trying to figure out and understand each chakra, its frequency, its color. And it wasn't until recently, a post that I did probably about 3 weeks ago, that I found the exact same numbers hidden in the book of Numbers in the Bible, and not the New Testament, the Old Testament. And when I realized that I had the perfect alignment, because I was just off by 1. And this revealed 12 times, not once, not 2, but 12 times the exact same frequency numbers. And that's when I realized, okay, I'm onto something here. And I, at that point, have officially shared that those are the chakra frequencies. And when you listen to them, you charge that chakra.
So you're listening to like the Hertz frequencies to harmonize the energy body, basically.
Yes.
Beautiful.
You can do that with anything. Now, I wouldn't advise, hard rock or anything along those lines, but if you have music that already uplifts your spirit, already uplifts your vibration, you can very easily find an app that will just play 432 hertz in the background and you'll barely hear it, but it charges your chakra. It connects you to something you didn't even know was there. And I think that's one of the most amazing things about it, other than the fact that, of course, it also responds to the water in your body. And I think that is the most important thing about healing when it comes to those chakras is your body is made of 90% water and your cells are made of 90% water. And these frequencies and vibrations, so when you speak, directly affect those cells. And I don't know if you saw a post that I did recently, but I put it all together to show you that when you listen to those frequencies and when you raise your vibration and when you speak, which is a very important part about speaking these words, I am healthy, I am happy, I am loved, that your cells respond to that. And they don't just respond to that, they change into actual designs of proteins that then allow you to replicate healthy cells.
Now, if for whatever reason, I'm super intense about making sure that everyone knows that they have what they need within them. So if I was not around a device that could play a hertz frequency. If I just called in a frequency of 369 or 639 or whatever frequency I would want to work with, if I just called in the vibration, if I focused on it, or if I asked the universe to apply that vibration, that number frequency to a certain chakra or to a certain area of my body, do you think that's just as effective, or another way to work with it if I'm not around a device that would play me some hertz frequencies?
I don't believe that there is any state that you can be in that would not allow you to perform this. So
Right.
if you are, for whatever reason, in an accident and you don't have a voice to speak, I believe that the awareness, because it's just like any other sense, just like any of your five senses, when one goes out, the others amplify. And so I believe it's the same way. If for whatever reason you can't, then I believe that the other one would amplify. If you couldn't speak, then when you focused your awareness on it, it would amplify that, override that ability or that need to actually be able to speak. The same thing goes with clapping your hands or using your hands with energy. If you don't have your hands, I believe there's a movie, Doctor Strange, where he's like, my hands are broken, I can't do anything. And she points to the guy next to him, and he has literally no hands and all the way to the nubs of his arms. And he's still doing everything that they were. So I believe that it's all about what you desire, and that desire is what changes things.
Yeah, it's just kind of bringing up a point where I always show the fact that basically, we're eternal beings. And people are like, well, how's that possible? Well, in science, they validated that humans are basically energy, vibrational light beings. And with that definition of being energy in quantum physics, they've also validated that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So wait a minute. Scientifically, that might mean that we're eternal. But here's another question. If we're eternal and we've always been, and this universe has only been here 14.3 billion years, we're not from this universe. Have you ever gotten into any of those multidimensional universes and all that good stuff?
I have. And one of the reasons that I really love talking about nine is because she, and I call her she because she is amazing, she is found in everything seen and unseen. And so when people are looking to, I call it horcruxing, an example of this would be if you love the Bible, you almost put a part of your energy into that, which is why when somebody then insults the Bible, you feel insulted. But nine, if you put your energy into a number that is in everything, you can never be insulted. And on top of that, after everything ends, you have an understanding that you are part of everything. And so by doing that, yeah, I've done the same thing. I've thought about the universe. I've thought about how old it is. I've thought about the cosmos, how small we are compared to, I believe David Engelman was the one who was talking about, they looked through the Hubble telescope and found like 100 billion galaxies. And so we are very small on that scale. And I believe that when your consciousness chooses, which is the most important part of quantum physics, the atom starts as both a wave and a particle, and then something happens and they don't have an understanding of what it is. I believe it is choice. And then it collapses to either a physical particle or stays as a wave, but there is a choice. There's a moment of free will in everything, down to the singular atom. And so I think that once you decide that you are now a part of everything, endgame, you're now a part of everything.
Beautiful. Now, would you fathom to guess that 9 is the number of love?
Absolutely. If there was ever to be a definition of love, it would be the number 9, or a symbol of love. Because of the fact that, at least for me personally, every time that I have found the number 9, I have been able to find a truth that either, as you spoke about earlier, that either collapses duality and brings you to unity, or it just brings you straight to unity. And that to me is probably the greatest definition of love. I tell people that to no longer judge is to understand, but to no longer desire to judge is to truly love.
What has been the most empowering aspect in your psychic evolution, in discovering the 369 and discovering all of these numbers?
I think the most empowering aspect for me has been understanding that everything is connected. I feel like we have lived, or at least I have lived my life very unconnected, very disconnected. And it's frustrating because I was raised in the church. So I thought I was on the right path. And so it's very frustrating at first when things start making sense outside of that. It's also very scary. It takes rising above different levels of fear to get to a place where you see that it's all love. But for me personally, 3, 6, and 9, I looked at it as a triangle. If you are viewing your life from the state of a 3, you understand that 9 is where you want to get, but you're always so far behind 6. And you look at it as an uphill battle. If you view your life from a 6, you can look back at 3 and see how far you've come and then see how little you need to get to 9. But if you view your 9 from 9, you can appreciate both paths, every direction, and live above both. And I think that that was probably one of the greatest revelations that I had. I drew it on my wall in very, very, very big. I had a huge vortex math circle. I had all the information on the side. I bought washable markers because I wanted to look at it every day. It changed my life, and it made me realize that I am not alone, that whatever did create this actually does love and care about its system. And I think that was all I really needed to kind of elevate at that point.
It's beautiful. If you could send a message to every spiritual awakener, what would it be?
The message that I would send to everybody is, especially in today's age where everybody is waking up and they're not knowing what to do or what path to go, and they feel like something shook them awake. And I feel like the message I want to send out there is that you woke yourself up. You were going through something, you were experiencing something, and it just wasn't working for you anymore. And the spirit inside of you, the connection, it woke you up. And I believe that the moment that you accept that you woke yourself up is the moment that you change from the world is happening to you are happening to the world. And that is the message that I would love to give to everybody, is to instantly rise up and realize that you chose this path, that everything is going to be okay, that it looks like it's chaos only because you pulled yourself away from the order to find your own self.
Does that help to realign people when they find themselves and then able to live that more effectively in their own physical life?
I have found that it does. I talk to a lot of people who believe that they are on a very special path. And I have a viewpoint of this. If you have to walk across a bridge and only certain people can be on it, sooner or later, you're going to push people off. Every time that there is a special path or a special bridge or you're chosen, it ends up being the more people that join it, the more you have to kind of cut people out. Versus if there is a universal path that we're all on, then everybody's welcome and we're all on it together.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm lazy. I'm like, I'm not going to get congested. I'll just create a bigger bridge.
Well, that'll work too, but that takes awareness.
Well, and I think that's what the numbers bring, is that there is an awareness in those numbers. There's an awareness of how we can work with our own numbers, but also just like you were talking about with Hertz frequencies, with your chakra system, with aligning your thoughts and your vibrations in series of 3, 6, and 9. And why is it number 9? So this is is the 9 so important because of the platonic solids?
The 9 actually started to be very important to me because I realized that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is actually 45. And that's a 9. And even when you remove her or remove 9 from it, you end up with 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 is 36. And that's a 9. And so I realized very quickly that the whole is also 9. And also when it's not there, it's 9. And so when I started looking into numbers that represented that, for instance, the Bible talks about 666. People talk about 666 all the time. 666 is 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. But there also is something hidden in that, and the fact that there is only one element that we are all made of, which is carbon, which is changing, but which is carbon, and that's 6 electrons, 6 protons, 6 neutrons. And so there's another hidden to that 666. And then when you multiply 666, so 6 times 6 times 6, you get 216. And that has been, I don't know if you've seen Lucis Khan's information. He's been able to find that number to be almost the name of the creator, whatever it happens to be. He's found it in levels of sacred geometry that I haven't even been able to step into yet. And so to me, the way I view it is that 9, 18, these are representations of the energy that has made up mankind, or everything that you see. And the 216, when you multiply, when you add power to it, is adding love. And if you live that way, you live as whatever God, whatever belief, whatever you believe in, that's walking and living that walk.
I'm hearing the 9999, which kind of tells me, well, everything's already completed, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be 9. And can we learn from each level of the integration or the completion of the number 9 of that experience? Can you build upon that with even more knowledge and information from each level of the, almost like an onion?
Absolutely. Without a doubt. I'm a tech person, which is why when you ask the question about frequencies, I believe that you can say Om, and there are certain things that you can do that will also have those same frequencies. If they're in the Bible, they didn't have computers. So I assume that there are ways that you can tap into these frequencies. However, to answer your question, I want to create technology not based off of arbitrary numbers. We have a binary system that runs our computers, and I believe that you could create one with a Trinity. And that would maybe open up a connection to alien life or angels or whatever it happens to be, through your actual computer, through technology. Currently, everything that we have is based off of arbitrary numbers. It worked, so we used it. Now we have a chance to create systems based off of morality, based off of love. And I think that is going to open doors we've never seen before.
I love that. This is like the next phase of technology coupled with consciousness. This is fantastic news.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it.
In the ability, in a potential psychic or just a vibrational number way, do those numbers speak for upcoming events for this planet?
That's a good question. I do believe that they do. I tell people all the time, we did not create math. We discovered it. It was here long before us, and it's going to be here long after us. So I think that the more in tune we get to the flow of math, not the one that we're trying to make fit, but the actual flow of math, the flow of time, not the one we're living by, it is going to reveal, well, honestly, a better future. I mean, there's just no question that that's the direction it's going to go. And when you look at something like the precession of the equinox, the further away from the sun you are, they call that the dark ages. The closer you are, they call it the illumination. We are in the time of illumination.
Pythagoras said, number is the law of the universe.
Yes. I am just really honored to be here. I want to get people to understand that I understand that changing your path, changing your direction, changing your religion, changing your God is a difficult task. And so that is one of the reasons that I started the group of 9 Vibes. I read in Conversations with God where it said, if you can't find the group consciousness you're looking for in the world, become it. And that's why I started 9 Vibes, is because I wanted to create a place that allowed you to be on any path and any walk in any direction and still find a way to unite with everybody that's there, with something as simple as just adding a few numbers. And anybody who has any questions, I spend one-on-one time with people. If you don't understand, the basics of digital root, I will send you a message. I will call you. I have helped so many people. And then once you do, it's as simple as 1, 2, 3.
Beautiful. So check out 9 Vibes Universal. This is on a Facebook group, also 9vibesuniversal.com. And Devon can help you figure out some numbers and relationships. And thank you guys for tuning in. And thank you so much, Devon, for being a guest on our podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. This was amazing.
Awesome. It's just the beginning.
Get your 9 vibes aligned.
Yeah, get your 9 vibes aligned. That's right. And if you want more of the Psychic Evolution podcast, you can check out our membership page on Supercast. There'll be a notes in the show notes. You can hear the unedited version of this podcast with Devon Kramer and talking about the 369 and getting your 9 vibes aligned. So check it out. And until then, enjoy your psychic evolution. Body, mind, and spirit. 3 factors that are crucial to living a healthy, happy life. We're here to help your mind and spirit. Now, let someone help your body. Ember Athletics provides personalized and comprehensive online programs you can use anywhere in the world at any time you want. I use them to prepare for my wedding, but they can help with so much more. Whether that's training for an event or challenge, getting your beach body, improving your health, or just about anything else. Ember Athletics customizes programs for your body, your health, your goals. Let Ember Athletics know you heard about them on this podcast, and you'll get a discount when you sign up for a program. For more information, go to www.emberathleticsofficial.com. That's EMBER athleticsofficial.com. Or you can call and text Chad, the head coach, at 602-628-9305.